west side, it had to be a gigantic explosion.
Well, obviously, we don't know if this was, if it was a plane, and I underline if it was, we don't know if it would have been deliberate or accidental. We know so little now other than what we can see from these pictures. But the interesting point is there are a number of small airports around New York where passenger corporate jets or private jets will land and take off. And it's not uncommon, if you have ever visited the World Trade Center, when you go up to the observation platforms at the top, you can look down on airplanes that are either coming in for landings or taking off from New York airports. But all pilots who fly in this area know very well where the World Trade Center is located. All the routes are very far or comfortably far away from the two towers.
And not just private planes, too, because with some winds in some directions, even out of the big commercial airports, planes are routed quite close to New York. I've flown in from LaGuardia, even into LaGuardia, but having to go right by the World Trade Centers.
But we emphasize this is all speculative at this point. And just to reset for all of you, this is a special report from ABC News, and we are dealing, and we have to underline this, we are dealing purely in the realm of speculation here as to what may have happened at the World Trade Center. Obviously, a major incident occurred here on the upper floors of one of the World Trade Center towers. You can see multiple openings and flames coming out of at least two sides of the tower at the World Trade Center. And
we just got a report that the Associated Press is now reporting that it was an aircraft. So that's one more witness weighing in, or at least one more source weighing in on the fact that it was an aircraft of some kind.
And as Don Dahler reported, this occurred about 15 or 20 minutes ago in downtown New York. And New York time, that would have been about 20 minutes or 8:45. This is a time when literally tens of thousands of people are coming to work at the World Trade Center.
Looking at the top of the building, you mentioned there's an observation center, and I don't know what time it opens, but I think it opens fairly early, and people are up there at all hours of the day. Families, tourists coming in to look at the city of New York from atop it. Also there, I don't know if this is the building that has the restaurant on top of it as well, but in those high floors, there are places where tourists team in the morning, even if the regular workers weren't in. And we remind you again that there was a terrorist bomb that did go off at the World Trade Center years ago. It was down in the garage level, but we have no
obviously
reason,
no indication that this could have been related to that. Right. Now, Don Dahler, ABC's Don Dahler, who is on the scene. Don, just give me some description again of what you can see now.
What we're seeing, it appears that there is more and more fire and smoke enveloping the very top of the building. And as fire crews are descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
yes, and that's the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway in downtown New York.
We will see that scene again just to make sure we saw what we thought.
We're going to give you a replay of what we just saw, and I must admit I thought it was some sort of fire equipment coming in or some sort of observation plane, but it was obviously designed to attack the World Trade Center. We're going to show you that. Here's a replay of the videotape. In a second, that looks like a good-sized plane came in and hit the World Trade Center from the other side. So this is obviously, or would seem to be, and again, I'm dealing in speculation, but it would seem like there is a concerted attack against one of the towers of the World Trade Center underway.
We had seen a plane coming in from the other direction earlier. I'd noticed it. Had you, Charlie? I didn't know if it was that plane that then circled wide and came back from another direction, but we all watched it. And I just assumed.
Don, could you hear that? Could you hear that plane as it came in?
I did not hear that plane, but I had to step inside the window because the fire crews were so loud, the sirens, that I couldn't hear you.
I got you.
I did see the explosion, but the side of the building that the plane entered was just outside of my view. So all I saw was this huge fireball and the explosion.
Well, the shot that we've got is now just from one side of the World Trade Center. But this is the shot again. This is moments ago of this second plane coming in, and this is now in slow motion. Oh, this is terrifying. Awful.
To watch powerless is a horror.
Dead waiting for the coverage. All right, we're going to go back to live coverage. Now you're looking at live pictures, and there is the second fire, which was brought about by this second plane that hit the tower. And Don, from everything I can see, it was the same tower that was hit the first time, right?
No, it's the second tower.
It's the other tower.
It is the other tower that was hit.
My mistake.
They targeted it, from what I'm seeing on the television, from your view, the two towers are in, one is in front of the other one, but it was definitely the second tower that was hit about halfway down, not quite as high. And from my view here, it does not seem to be as big, as much damage as the original. I don't know if that means it was not as big a plane or what. I did not see the plane go in, but it's horrendous damage, but it doesn't seem to be the gaping hole through two sides of the building like on the first one.
Don, from your vantage point, can you see if there are people coming out down below?
I can't see the bottom of the base of the buildings.
There's the wider shot of the two towers. Now, both towers have been hit by planes now in the last half hour, and again, I say we are totally powerless in knowing what's going on here, except that it would obviously appear, it can't be a coincidence like this, it would obviously be some sort of a concerted attack against both towers of the World Trade Center. This is again, we're going to show for the third time this tape of the airplane flying in and hitting the World Trade Center. This is slow motion of the plane coming in and hitting the obscured second tower of the World Trade Center. And you can see flame coming out, and I can't see the plane coming down. You know, if it just
Charlie, that's a commercial-sized jet. That did not look like.
No, that's a good-sized airplane. Yes.
Yeah, that's not a little commuter plane. That was a good-sized jet.
And I can't tell if it actually flew into the building or if it just clipped it with a wing. And if it did, of course, then there's the frightening prospect that the plane would have crashed right in the streets of very busy streets of New York.
Yeah.
It seems, and this is a small hope, that the fire may have gone out from the first site. I don't know if we can get the camera in close or not. It doesn't mean that the smoke isn't still terrifying and deadly.
Diane, I can see from here the orange flames. The fire has not gone out. In fact, it looks as if it's encompassing a part of the building that was not initially part of the original explosion. I can see it moving over to the left side, which would be the east side of the first building, almost all the way over to the edge. The back side is totally enveloped in flames that I can see from here.
Yes, with that kind of smoke, there's got to be an awful lot of flame in there. And I think all of us have thought at one point or another about the fact that these buildings, though they are so majestic as they stand above the skyline of New York, that it's very difficult for emergency workers or firefighters to fight these. We have a witness who was called in to speak to us. His name is Karim Haroki. Mr. Haroki, did you, as I understand, they're telling me in my ear, is it true that you witnessed the first plane hit the tower?
Yeah.
Could you give me some sort of a description of it?
I was sitting in my car here in Greenwich, you know. I just saw the plane is coming down from the left side and going straight to the building, you know, and going inside.
It actually went inside the building?
Excuse me?
It flew right into the building?
I saw it coming from the left, and I saw the plane coming through to the building. I go inside. It's a small plane.
You say small plane. Was it a jet?
Excuse me?
Was it a jet plane?
No, it was plane, you know, like they teach the people for that plane is like small plane, you know. It's that kind of plane.
You mean like a small single or double engine
double
plane.
engine, yeah.
Right, and it actually went into the building there on the upper floor.
Yeah, going into the building. And I never saw that plane before. It's like something, I don't know, it's like they work with a motor. I never saw a plane like that before. Yeah.
All
She
right,
works my car, she's nice.
Mr. Hiroki, you are down in that area right now, then?
Yeah, I'm in Greenwich here on North Mall Street.
Can you tell if there's a large number of fire equipment and emergency equipment on the scene?
Excuse me?
Can you see fire equipment or emergency equipment on the scene?
I don't know. The fire is upstairs in the building, and the second plane is the other building too.
And did you see the second plane come in?
Yeah, I saw the second plane is going boom. I heard, you know. I just wake up my head like that. I saw it inside too.
And that second plane much larger than the first?
Same. It's same. Both same.
They're both the same?
Yeah.
Because the pictures we see, the second plane looks rather large.
No, it's not like, it's going inside too. It's going inside of the building too. And the second hole, it's smaller than the other one.
And it actually also penetrated the building. You could see it go in.
Yeah, it's inside. It's inside. It's inside. No plane is outside. Nothing.
Now, can you see if there are people fleeing the building? We don't have shots yet from street level. Can you see if there are people leaving the building?
No, I can't see because I told you on the North Mall and Greenwich, I just saw up the building. I can't see downstairs.
So you're in Greenwich Village?
Yeah, no, in Greenwich Street and North Mall.
Oh, I see, on Greenwich Street. Okay, yeah. I can. That's just to locate people who don't know New York. That is right in the vicinity, right nearby, but not actually on the site of the World Trade Centers. ABC's Peter Jennings is at the anchor desk uptown here in New York and is now in position. Peter, I suspect you are looking at exactly the same pictures. Well, I know you're looking at the same pictures we are.
Second trade tower, both trade towers now, these 110-story high towers have now been hit. There is chaos here, or there's chaos in the immediate area. There is confusion in Washington because now everybody is engaged in this. The Pentagon is involved in this. All the intelligence services are engaged at this in the morning. And as we look at those towers, let's just simply keep looking at these towers this morning. And if you have the feed at home, I actually don't have it here, so somebody could please make sure that I have the photo picture of what's going on. The various airports in the area, Newark and LaGuardia particularly, have already suspended operations. The city asked the Federal Aviation Administration for permission to close down airspace in all of New York, lest there be a third aircraft or some other untoward incident involved. And ABC's John Miller is with me here, who's been listening efficiently to all of his police sources. And John, I gather the city is ordering a major evacuation from a number of public buildings and a number of these very high-profile targets.
They're going into what they call an Archangel operation, which is a code name for essentially a major lockdown of the city, evacuating the United Nations building, the municipal building, City Hall, Gracie Mansion, which is the mayor's residence, all things that could be considered